They won by 10. Ole Miss felt like they had several opportunities to knock off the Tigers. And so far this season, only two teams, Duke and Florida, have been able to do that. Welcome everybody alongside my partner and buddy Jimmy Dykes. I'm Carl Ravitch. Delighted to have you here. It is electric as always. I mentioned that they've only lost twice. They got a target on their back and only two teams have been able to hit it. Is it the most complete team in the country, you think?
Yeah, it has been so far. You mentioned they got a target on their back. They also got a chip on their shoulder, which I love about this Auburn team. They got an edge about them, Ravi, driven to do something really special. The first check mark would be to win the SEC regular season title, which they're on the verge of knocking that door down. They are one of four teams in college basketball coming into tonight that are top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Man, they are so good on both ends of the court. We know they're led by what I think is the National Player of the Year in Janai Broome. But, man, this is an older veteran club. They know who they are, and they are so difficult to beat here in front of the jungle.
14 wins versus Quad 1 teams, most in Division I. Tennessee and Alabama have 4 fewer. They have 10, but it's been a title that Auburn has carried most of this season. And they are an older team with a veteran coach. And you've already, out of the gate, creating controversy, anointing Broome Player of the Year over Flag. Why?
Well, because his numbers are, the numbers are even, but Janai Broome's doing it in a way more difficult conference than the ACC. That's what I judge how this kid has played this year. He has done it all. Look what he did against Georgia on Saturday, 31-14, and he can dominate the game. I've said all year long, he's the one guy in the SEC that can stop a run by the opponent by throwing that dude the ball around the basket and letting him score, get fouled. And you've got to have 8 or 10 points extra in your pocket if you're Ole Miss. That's how good this home court advantage is for Auburn.
Ball controlled by the Tigers, a much bigger, more physical team than Ole Miss. Baker-Mazara literally had an IV yesterday, wasn't feeling well, but here he is, Chad Baker-Mazara in the starting lineup for Auburn. One-on-one with Malik Dia. He steps back for a three, and he's feeling fine to start.
I don't know what they put in his IV, but I want a little bit of it.
Padula is a concern for Auburn, and Malik D has been terrific. If Morrell knocks down shots, Bruce Pearl believes they're a much different, better team, and here's his first, and he does knock it down.
Well, Ole Miss, although they lost the game in the first matchup, they drove the ball with success against Auburn and also got to the free throw line about 35 times. Stay in front of the ball if you're Auburn in this game, a huge deal.
Well, Broome beat his man. He had Padula in a mismatch as Dia also got caught.
Those play calls from Bruce Pearl are usually spot on. A lot of big, little, and little big screens. Very difficult to switch.
Maury in amongst the trees. Difficult fadeaway. Jalen Murray is only 5'11", out of the Bronx, New York. He was a St. Peter's transfer.
He takes care of that ball. Only 17 turnovers in 420 minutes.
Great lob down to Broome, and he was able to take advantage again. Really good entry passes to number 4.
Yeah, just clear out that backside and take away the help and let Janai Broome pin his guy and throw it to the target hand. Really well done.
Dia will throw the three and find the bottom.
He is one of the most versatile bigs in this league, an undersized guy that can stretch that defense with that three-point shot ability. Chris Beard's going to change his defense up, I think, multiple times in this game as they go to that big, wide 2-3 zone.
Broome and Cardwell were an absolute nightmare in the first meeting as they quickly try to double Broome, who finds the corner 3 ball. That goes down, and the rims are wide open tonight.
That's the trouble with doubling Janai Broome. Ole Miss did it the entire ball game in the first matchup, and Auburn knocked down 14 threes a lot of those out of the hands of Janai Broome as the passer.
Miles Kelly, terrific against Georgia and an outstanding shooter, knocks down his first opportunity. Dia deep, tied up. It'll stay with Ole Miss.
And watch Janai Broome. He's going to feel this double team, and his ability to move that ball from one side of the floor to the other and throw strikes is so important to this Auburn offense. You pick your poison. If you don't double Janai Broome, he's a one-on-one monster, and if you do, man, his size, his vision, his passing ability is at an elite level.
Miles Kelly, a Georgia Tech transfer. There's another look at Janai Broome. So far, been a perfect start, both teams. 4 for 4 for Auburn, 3 for 3 for Ole Miss. Ole Miss comes in averaging about 74.5 points a game. And again, difficult place to score, difficult team to score against.
Hard to get it in against Auburn, always.
Damon Brakefield, number 4 into the game for Ole Miss. A floater, no good. First miss of the night, and Auburn trying to push it with Baker Mazzara. Behind his back and the runner. Oh boy, what a start for the Tigers.
Man, the versatility of CBM is on display early. A long, lanky lefty, create his own, play with a chip. Talking about 10 in white.
Trey Davis in as well. Barnes also in. Way off for that one.
Good shooters don't miss the entire rim.
Right. Kelly is a good shooter. He finds the bottom. What a start for the Tigers. They are 6 for 6. And he travels. Really good defense by Miles Kelly.
Ravi, Auburn's averaging 8 made threes per game in conference play. They've already got 6. But what they do so well is they set that high transition ball screen. If you don't step on it, all those perimeter guys come off of it with confidence. And Janai Broome, such a force, a physical SEC screener to knock those three-point shooters open for Auburn.
Yeah, 6 of 6. They've made 3 threes so far. And they are deep, and they go to Pettiford off the bench, a 5-star as Broome took it hard, and he will shoot 2 free throws. Boy, Auburn, man, this place is already on fire, and all they did was throw more gas on it. What a start! And he's added 25 wins this year, losses to Duke and Florida. They've been the number 1 team in the AP for 7 straight weeks. They got a double bye in the tournament. And they are looking for their 3rd regular season title and postseason tournament title under the coach. Janai Broome, 11 games, 20 or more points, 10 or more rebounds, tied for the most in Division I. We showed you the number of doubles that he's got. 17 on the season, 77 in his career, coming off a 31-14 effort against Georgia.
Well, Auburn's played everybody this year as well. The number 1 strength of schedule. And I just firmly believe that if Bruce Pearl wins the SEC regular season title, he should be the National Coach of the Year. If you're talking about winning a regular season in a league that is historically the best we've ever had, and you grind your way through 8 or 9 weeks in the SEC and you win that thing by a game or 2, that should be your National Coach of the Year.
If Broome had one thing that he'd probably work on and may work on more than others, it's his free throw shooting. Still a little bit above 60%. He knocked down that one. The senior out of Plant City, Florida, the Morehead State transfer, knocks them both down. Looked good there, and a really good start for Janai Broome. It puts some full court pressure on now against Ole Miss. Brakefield hands it off to Padula, and they're going to get Brakefield with an illegal screen that he set, which sent Baker Mazzara into the scorer's table.
That Brakefield downfield blocking for a running back. After he gives it up, boom, steps right in front of Baker Mazzara. You're responsible for your action after you get that ball up, and you just run smooth through number 10 in white.
Chaney Johnson is in for Auburn. He wears 31, just adds more veteran leadership as well as some big-time size at 6'7". Broom, he got fouled and he will not execute the layup.
Interesting, Ole Miss waited for the bounce of the ball. The second bounce to come at Janai Broom. I don't think you throw this guy a steady dose of anything. You double him some, you quick double him. Sometimes you're patient with your double. But he is a handful.
Stroke looks really good. He knocks down another one, and Broom, 7 of the 18 points. Gets the roll on a 12-0 run right now for the Tigers. And Jimmy, all of a sudden, early in this game, it's a dangerous time for Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Auburn going to jam that basketball in the backcourt and pressure it as much as they can. If you're Ole Miss, you've got to drive the ball, Ravi, with some success. Again, they shot 35 free throws against Auburn the first time. You've got to burn that pressure off by being aggressive with it.
What a challenge for Chris Beard, who relishes challenges, thinks about this game a little different than a lot of guys do. And he knows this is a massive mountain that he's going to have to deal with tonight.
Well, they're going to have to rebound the ball. They are dead last, Ole Miss, in rebounding in the SEC. That's their biggest issue. And they only get 21% on the offensive glass, which tells you their first shot tonight has to be really good to hang in this game.
Morrell being guarded by a much bigger Broom. He drives, lace it up and in. Tough drive.
Just what I called for. I think you can drive Auburn as hard as they pressure the ball. You get a little bit of leverage in an angle, man. Attack that thing just like Morrell did.
Pettiford, who's dribbling the ball, is a 5-star. He chose Auburn over UConn and several other big-time programs. Denied at the rim. Great elevation and defense by Dre Davis.
Matthew Morrell in that last possession, Ravi. This is exactly what you have to do. Janai Broom opens up his hips and gives an angle, and Matthew Morrell says, thank you very much. Square guys up was the message that Bruce Pearl talked about in that film session that you and I were in. Guard your yard squaring up, and Janai Broom that time just gave an angle away.
225 career wins on the Auburn sideline for Pearl. They get Padula with a foul for Ole Miss. 10-point lead, and the Tigers right now 6 of 7 from the floor. They swing it quickly. Baker Lazara too strong. There is a rebound by Ole Miss. And intense pressure from Auburn.
See how they jam the ball. They take nothing for granted if you're Ole Miss tonight in this game. That pressure is going to be relentless.
The block, and out of bounds it goes, showing how difficult it can be. That's what the addition of Chaney Johnson to the floor means.
Yeah, I mean, the guys in white just swarm the basketball. A lot of length in that 8 or 9 rotation that Bruce Pearl puts on the floor. Dylan Cardwell checks back in, and now that Auburn defense just gets even tougher.
And Chris Moore is their other substitute that just came in. Denver Jones is as good a defender as there may be in college basketball. He's 2 in white. And they had defensive specialists. This is the group right here.
Well, if Denver Jones, think about it, 2 in white. He has grown into the point guard position this year. He's a very physical 6'4", bully the basketball defensive guy. And that starting lineup for Auburn, 6'4", 6'6", 6'7", 6'10", 6'11". Man, did they take up space on the defensive end.
Dia denied, you mentioned it. Good block by Cardwell. 2 seconds, he's got to fire it up. Another one that's blocked by Cardwell.
Well, we talk about Auburn, the #1 offensive team in the country. They are top 10 defensive as well, and you're getting to see why, man. That length around the rim, blocking shots, forcing tough twos, taking away angles. #1 team in the country, clicking on all cylinders early.
Yeah, and Jimmy, it's a team that knows how to play to the crowd. A very emotional team on the floor. Cardwell looked right at the student section after that block and the third turnover for Ole Miss. They go inside to him. A little handoff, and that's a flush. Chaney Johnson.
At times, Chaney Johnson to me is the difference in this Auburn team. He's such a tough, hard-working kid, selfless. a double-figure score checking in off the bench. They go 6 deep in double-figure scores.
The baseline jumper, that's no good, and be careful. Pettiford with a run out. It's a kid that meets the moment as a freshman. He is shown in big spots he's willing to take and make the big shot. Johnson just lost it. Morrell thinks about pulling up. Padula driving, looking for contact, and he's denied by the rim with a left. Knocks it down. They've taken 4 threes and made them all.
So you check Pettiford in the game. It slides Denver Jones off the ball. So many scoring options for Bruce Pearl in those play calls.
And it's getting very ugly for Ole Miss right now as Pettiford will pick up the ball and then get a call against Davis. Listen to the crowd here.
Already the 4th turnover in this game for Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, Ravi, they lead the country, only turning it over 8.9 times per game. That's the defensive disruption and pressure that Auburn has thrown at Ole Miss early.
Now, this is a tough one right now for Ole Miss. This is what in the world just hit us. Warno Klafke comes in for Ole Miss. He's just a freshman out of Brazil. Jones trying to take advantage of him, and he will draw the foul. What a start, Jimmy, for the Tigers. We saw Alabama last night. All of a sudden, Auburn is one-upping them.
Yeah, hot out of those starting blocks, right? Guys that can make guarded threes. Auburn's got 3 or 4 of them.
Commit to hard work, to an exceptional education that serves humanity, to our creed that's inspired generations of the Auburn family, keeping us grounded, yet groundbreaking. You'll find us at the forefront of every challenge, building intelligent systems, resilient communities, and a safer, healthier tomorrow. Because when the work of the world demands the best and brightest, it will find them right here.
March basketball is here with a thriller in the SEC. This time of year, the stakes are raised. Auburn versus Kentucky, Saturday on ABC. March basketball is here with a thriller in the SEC. This time of year, the stakes are raised. Auburn versus Kentucky, Saturday on ABC.
That's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. An all-access game. A really, really neat opportunity to pull the screen back. Microphones on Pearl and Pope. You go inside the locker room, pregame, halftime. Here's some of the speeches. And Kentucky's getting Jackson Robinson back, as well as Lamont Butler, which will change them. Now, to what degree they're able to perform is another story to be determined. But boy, what a huge opportunity inside Rupp Arena for that one on ABC.
Kentucky's a dangerous team. They have 5 top 10 wins already under first-year head coach Mark Pope. We know offensively what they can do, but this Auburn team, think about it, Ravi, they are scoring a ridiculous 129 points per 100 possessions. One of the all-time analytically beautiful offensive teams that we've seen in college ball in a long time.
Yeah, and look, Tennessee and others know how to play D. Kentucky, who they'll see on Saturday, has been challenged defensively. You wonder if Mark Pope's watching this game thinking, like, what in the world, man, 26-9. You know he's recording it somewhere, and we'll watch it later.
And Auburn's so impressive to defend without fouling. Only 1 foul so far.
And they're shooting 80% to start this game, the Tigers. There's an open 3 that's too strong and will go out of bounds.
Or the ones you have to make in this league. You get an open look like that, no one in your airspace, you got to rise up and make them pay.
Broom getting a very nice rest in this game, and rest is a watchword in the SEC given how beaten and battered these teams are, having played against each other all season. Jones from way outside, that's their first three-point miss. Murray right into a bee's nest, and he got stung. They'll call a jump ball.
Boy, it's so good by Auburn to sprint back on defense and build a wall and be gap strong. I mean, the ball is secured right there by Pettiford. And he's got help coming in by Johnson to be sitting in that gap. Man, that is a great job to get back and control that basketball.
5 turnovers for a team, as you said, doesn't turn it over very much. That's Ole Miss. Only 1 in the game for Auburn. Designed rest, you think, for Broom?
Yeah, no doubt. This is a team that Bruce Pearl consistently goes 8-9 deep on.
Pettiford, he had his hands up celebrating the three as soon as it was in Baker Mazzara's hands.
A good three-point shooter that really doesn't have much rotation at all on his three-point shot. Uncommon, but it works for Chad Baker Mazzara.
Padula will try. That's no good. And, ooh, boy, a push from behind. I think it was Jones. And he's there to help up the Ole Miss player who was sent to the ground in Javis.
Ravi, watch the rotation on the ball by Chad Baker Mazzara. There's just not a lot of rotation there. The best three-point shooters I've seen over the years, when they take a three, that thing's rotating about 3 or 3.5 times before it hits the net. His ball may be rotated 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Just doesn't come off quite as quick with a spin as you would expect.
Morrell, that's a good one. You know who wasn't concerned about the rotation was Pettiford. Literally, when he threw the pass, his hands went up to celebrate.
Like Chris Jans last night, the head dropping not to celebrate when he saw
another wide open three for Alabama.
I like Ole Miss changing the defense. They got to do something to take the rhythm away from Auburn offensively. Usually they show zone and go to man in the middle of the possession. That's what they've done.
Yeah, Broom back in. He sets the high screen. Baker Mazzara into the paint. That's too easy.
He is so good, man. For a thin kid, his ability to play through bodies and contact is impressive.
Padula got hit by Hudson. Out of the Dominican Republic is Chad Baker Mazzara. Out of a baseball family. Chose basketball.
Look at Baker Mazzara right there. He's a long drink of water guy that crafty, tough, slithery, taking the ball to his spots. Can make those logo tough twos and those deep corner threes. Versatile defender.
There you go. He had it deep and he missed the dunk. And that's been the first 10 minutes of this game for both Ole Miss and Auburn. Easy dunk, missed at the rim. Padula with a pick. They got numbers 3 on 2. Way too strong with that three. Picked up underneath and laid up and in. And they needed something like that.
Ravi, the one thing when you play Auburn, forget about all the analytics. You have to play your tail off. Bruce Pearl always takes pride in, we will play harder than you. And Ole Miss has to match that tonight.
Breakfield's first 2 on that rebound, 31-14. Broom loves to go to that shoulder, and then he fades, and he got fouled on a fadeaway in the corner, right in front of his buddy Charles Barkley.
A bad foul. I believe it's on Breakfield. No, it's Janai Broom's taking a very tough short corner fadeaway, difficult shot.
And Brown Jones got it.
Brown Jones, yeah, just loses his discipline.
Janai Broom needed 9 points to reach the 2,500 point mark, and he is sitting on 8. And that is point 2,500 in his career. A significant milestone for Janai Broom. Tell you one thing, Jimmy, you know it. His improvement year over year to this year has been astounding.
It has. And he's such a problem, Ravi, because if you're a team that switches 1 through 5, he will absolutely punish you on the switch.
Look at the hands from Auburn. It doesn't matter who it is. As Norrell looks for an out, and it's Barnes. Great block from behind by Baker Mazzara.
It is ridiculous how hard Auburn's playing on the defensive end.
Mazzara putting on a dribbling expedition. With a big smile on his face now in the corner. They got 5 on the shot clock, plenty of time. It doesn't matter. Another 3 that finds the bottom. And they're all making them right now. Miles Kelly is such a weapon. Wakefield will get fouled to try to put the lid back on this building.
Ravi, good shooting teams are excellent passing teams. Auburn continuing to throw strikes to shooters in this game. Not the #1 team in the country, the way they get it done on both ends. I'm mostly impressed, our first time to see Auburn live this year, how aggressive and fast they are on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. Kai Howard out of Boston, Mass. has checked in for the first time tonight for Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers. You mentioned their points per possession. Tonight, it's 1.895. They're getting almost 2 points per possession. Bruce Pearl explaining to Terry Oglesby, I've never seen anything like this either. I know we're good. I don't know if we're this good.
Well, Auburn's one of 4 teams in the country, top 10 in both offense and defense. It's Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. You could take those 4 teams right now out against the field.
Hesitation by Jones, can't get it to go. And it will drop. A chance for a 3-point play. Some good ball movement that time in spite of the hands. And David Barnes will have a chance to convert it.
Ravi, you have to do something to burn that pressure off that Auburn's applying. And all 5 guys are pressuring that ball. So there's a good burn the pressure off cut by Devon Barnes.
The 22-point deficit prior to that had been the largest deficit of Ole Miss's season. Now it's down to 18. About 15 to go in half number 1 in what has been an awfully impressive performance by the Tigers. They dribble through any of that trap, and Janai Broom saw the lane.
That is the problem when you press Auburn. You leave a guy like Broom on the backside of that press break.
Body on body, Dia throws it up off the window over Broom. And Coach Beard wants to have a quick conversation about what he has seen.
When you extend your defense against Auburn, you cannot let that ball come with speed because Janai Broom is going to be the pressure release. He's standing at the elbow, no pressure on him, attack the rack, well done by 4.
SEC with South Carolina in Oxford to take on a very, very solid Ole Miss team. Texas 13-1, South Carolina 13-1, LSU 12-2, and Ole Miss 9-5 in the SEC women's battle.
Yeah, Coach Yo at Ole Miss, you got a squad capable of causing South Carolina some problems. It's unusual to see the number 6 beside that South Carolina name.
Under 10 on the shot clock. High screen, Kelly raises. No good, and a good box out by Padula.
Just come down and get a good look right now for Ole Miss. And there's one.
Yep. Yeah. And he buried it.
A defensive breakdown in transition don't know if it's Chaney Johnson or who it was, but the ball is the most important part of the push, and Auburn just ignored it.
Janai Broom's got 12 points so far in this one. That went in. It was deflected in. It might have been Dia of Ole Miss who deflected it in.
And back-to-back possessions by Ole Miss in transition. In the first 4 seconds of their possession, they score.
Well, Chris Beard is into it. He is imploring his defenders to toughen up. And Broom has a foot on Morrell, so he will begin to back him in. And go with the right and come up a little short.
Well, great job by Morrell, right? To be that undersized and stay wide and low and strong.
Same matchup on the other end. Last time Morrell beat him, and Dia and Howard get into it. And they're going to call that on Howard for Auburn.
Well, effort is rewarded, and yeah, I think Dia's the one that flies in and gets a paw on it. It drops through the net. Counts 2 for Auburn. Rav, it's a classic game if you're Ole Miss. Just get it to 10 by halftime. Try to regroup and settle in because you got knocked to the mat, man, the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game.
And you can't expect the team to shoot 70.
No, not at all. Exactly.
Inbound stolen.
They're the best in the country, Auburn, at taking away your baseline out of bounds under. I was here 2 years ago in August, and they were working on it then in the middle of the summer, how they take away plays.
They got Cardwell and Broom now on the floor at the same time. And they go to Cardwell, another good passing big man. A lot of contact. Broom can't get that one to go, and it's out of bounds, and it's going to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah, you look around the country, who's playing 2 bigs together? Michigan with Wolf and Lad Golden, but this combination of Janai Broom and Dylan Cardwell has worked beautifully for Bruce Pearl this year. But Cardwell is the anchor of this team defensively. And Janai Broom is the horse on the offensive end. But those 2 dudes right there, they cause a lot of problems.
Cardwell just one of a handful of Auburn Tigers who has worked so hard. There's another terrible turnover for Ole Miss on their bodies. Think about what Cardwell was 3 years ago. So much stronger, thinner, able to jump, move quicker.
Yeah, look at Cardwell. I mean, I would give a lot of money to walk across campus one time looking like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Just stroll right across campus. Find the nail. They're trying.
Take advantage of it. There's Cardwell, and he did get a chunk of Padula after he knocked the ball out of his hands.
But think about it. The beauty of Auburn's defense is Cardwell and Broom can both switch out and take on your point guard. And I don't say just take them on. They can take them on and stay in front of them and cause havoc and pressure. A unique combination that Bruce Pearl has to work with.
Auburn largest lead of this game, 22 points. It was once 36-14. Padula knocks down the free throw. Got it down to 14.
Ole Miss can't hang in this game if Padula doesn't have a big offensive night. He had 29 in game 1. He leads Ole Miss, Ravi, in minutes played. That's the only stat. That's the only stat that the coach can control. It tells you the value through Chris Beard's eyes of the guy with a white headband.
Yeah. All-conference player in the ACC at Virginia Tech. And a long pass. Baker Mazzara, great hands, but he threw it. And it was unable to be controlled by Pettiford out of bounds. Auburn, relatively speaking, last couple of minutes, a little sloppier.
Yeah. Chris Beard has coached his team back into this game. He's done it with changing his defense, extending it a little bit, going zone to man. You forget at times Chris Beard took Texas Tech to a national championship team. The dude can coach as well as anybody out there.
And again, another reach there, and they're going to get Baker Mazzara. The aggressiveness of Auburn on defense has got them into a little bit of a foul pickle right now. We'll take a
Allen Cup at halftime. We're going to pull up the SEC bracket for the tournament. If it started today, Sean likes a certain team. Coach, maybe a bit of a warning he'll give. And also Vanderbilt putting on quite a performance right now. We'll show you highlights of that game against A&M. Auburn been all the way, tip to finish right now.
It's Auburn. Business-like approach. Their ability to impose their will defensively, offensively, their ability to share the basketball, get everybody involved, Coach. This is why they're number one in the country.
And knocking down the three. But hey, I got a question. Jimmy Dykes, are you the president of the Janai Broom for Player of the Year Award? And I want to know what your qualifications are in terms of that. And secondly is, what about Denver Jones' Defensive Player of the Year, or the best perimeter defender in all of college basketball? Your thoughts, please.
Coach, first of all, I have no qualifications. Other than I watch a lot of ball like you, but I just think what Janai Broom has done in the most difficult college basketball league in history, I shove him just a nudge above Cooper Flagg. And to your point about Denver Jones, he has grown into a point guard this year for the first time. It's interesting, Ravi, Auburn, the number one team in the country, they're 2 point guards. It's their first year to be a point guard at the college level. Denver Jones and Pettiford.
And usually when you get into a tournament, those are your most important pieces.
Yeah.
You get into that argument. You want the bigs or you want the guards? And there are many who believe you need to have the guards that can control the ball, and you're right. 2 first-timers at the point guard position.
Well, I can't say enough of how Chris Beard has coached his team back into this game. Settled his guys down, didn't get rattled as a head coach, making good calls in this game to give his guys a chance.
Yeah, a 10-2 run for Ole Miss. And Broom had that one knocked out of his hands. Padula, the extra pass is a good one. And watch out, Morrell knocks it down. It's an 8-point game.
It all started with Juju Murray, though, to bring that ball with speed, Ravi, and to reverse it from 1/3 to the other. And Ole Miss now has the momentum in this game, down 8.
Ole Miss has hit their last 5 field goal attempts. Broom with it up.
That just completely too easy. You're playing a 2-3 zone, and nobody has an awareness of what I call the National Player of the Year on the floor. See Cardwell switch out on Padula and handled that basketball.
They got it to 8. These last 2 minutes, 2.5 are going to be huge. And Padula will draw the foul on Cardwell. That's going to be 3 shots.
Great shot fake by Padula, man, to sell it. And Cardwell lost his discipline. There's that punch out from behind on Broom. Watch Murray switch it over. Reverse the ball, get to the other side. Man, really well done. And one more swing pass by Padula. You can't have better transition offense than what Morrell just finished off for Ole Miss.
Morrell flirted with the NBA, came back, and he has really plowed through and persevered through a whole bunch of pain in his legs. He's leading the way with 10 tonight. On the other side, Broom 14, Baker Mazzara 10.
What did Bruce Pearl tell his team in the film today about Matthew Morrell? He said, for 5 years, this guy has caused us a problem. Well, he's causing them a problem again tonight. Already the only guy in double figures for the Rebels is Matthew Morrell.
Cardwell goes to the bench. You like the stroke from Padula, who's got 8 now. He's made all of his free throws, 5 of them. That 17-5 run has certainly made this a different ball game. It was 36-14. They led by 22. The crowd was off the hook. And it's much quieter right now inside Neville Arena. Mazzara will launch. That's short. Padula had it picked. Yep. Great effort by Baker Mazzara.
That dude is just a baller, Chad Baker Mazzara. He would never come off the floor in a shirts and skins open gym. His team is going to win. Boy, that's a pretty shot, is it not?
It sure is.
Wow.
Trade of 3 for a 2. The lead is 6. Baker Mazzara, Jimmy, over there in the corner's got his hands up, shot-ready position. He gets it. Good effort on defense not to lose the ground. Kelly, no good. Broom. Padula was looking for a jump ball. Aware, Broom bringing the ball down to his level. But they get the foul on Padula.
That's what Ole Miss's problem is in this game. Well, one of them. They are undersized when that ball is shot. And if you're Auburn, don't turn it over and get a shot, because you can dominate on the offensive glass with Broom and Cardwell.
They're hanging with him on the rebounding category, 11-10 in favor of Auburn. We went back, though, and looked, Jimmy. It looked like the last 9 games that Ole Miss has played, they've been out-rebounded in every one of them, and they've been out-rebounded by 86.
Yeah, big number to overcome.
Significant number for Janai Broom in the first half. Now 16 points. And again, he's coming off of a huge 31-14 effort against Georgia. Last 90 seconds. Murray. No. And a fairly easy rebound with a box out by Johnson. Broom, a little baseline. He finds the cutter, Johnson, who elevates. Another good assist for Janai Broom. Lead back up to 10. They get Baker Mazzara with a hold.
Boy, the instincts of Janai Broom as a passer are on display in this game. I mean, he gets choked off in that short corner, but a great read by Chaney Johnson to understand that 45-degree angle cut from the opposite side of the floor. Man, you can cut in front of your guy's face. It feels like 9 out of 10 times if you come with speed and a purpose, and then Broom puts it right on the numbers.
Free throw from Dia is made, and they've done that very well tonight. They've made 10 of their 11 to hang around here in this first half.
Dia started off his career at Vanderbilt and went to Belmont. Now at Ole Miss. A versatile offensive guy, a mismatch for a lot of teams in this league.
Beard's got to be delighted with the way the team has showed fight to cut the 22-point advantage down to 8. But it can escalate in a hurry with this Auburn offense. Dia moves on to Baker Mazzara, so Broom has Morrell on him. Chaney drives in and lost it.
Really good hands by Ole Miss. A very handsy defensive team.
Dia will shoot it, but Broom knows it and came out to guard him, and then a difficult fadeaway.
Didn't love it. Chris Beard didn't love it either. Giving him the stare down as he comes back on the defensive end of the floor. Yeah, exactly. Why? Why are you that? That's your shot, not our shot.
Last 5 seconds. Pettiford, pretty move. The floater, a chance for 3.
Rowdy, what a difference it makes. Man, one team takes a bad shot. Talking about Ole Miss on their last possession of the half. And Auburn comes down, and their ability of their guards, man, to make tough shots. This Pettiford kid is a handful. He shakes going left and comes right back and gets stung with contact.
How impressive is that? He's a natural lefty, and he did all that with the right until the shot.
Yeah, he's a natural scorer, but a bad closing 40 seconds by Ole Miss. It's amazing how those possessions within the game can flip things, and it certainly flipped to Auburn to close out this half.
The 7th all-time McDonald's All-American to commit to Auburn, and one of the highest-rated players they've ever gotten. Can't convert the three-point play with the full-court shot, drawing nothing from Murray. Now they got it down to 10 after falling behind by 22. Our halftime report features Sean Farnham, Seth Greenberg, and Dallin Cuff in the studio. Dallin. The second half, that is now a 50-40 ball game. And inside the arena, they just got a chance to watch a pretty special Auburn offense, shooting 60%. And at one point, a 22-point lead as you take a look at Charles. He's over there taking some pictures. Jimmy Dykes, Karl Ravech back here. The last 2 minutes were critical, and I imagine the first 2 minutes are going to be very critical, given what we saw Auburn do and what their capabilities are.
Auburn was awfully impressive, were they not, on both ends of the floor, and equally impressive, though, for Ole Miss to push the right buttons and Chris Beard to coach his guys back to stay in this game. Janai Broome has been terrific, and defensively he's taken away some plays, but offensively, this guy can do it all, and he's been fouled 4 times in the game already, which tells you you're having a tough time covering this guy if you're Ole Miss. His passing ability, he can make a three, he's a hard rim cutter, but he's a classic hard-to-guard guy. And how did Ole Miss get back in this? Well, Sean Padula and Matthew Morrell scored 11 of the last 15. And those 2 guards can go get 20 on any night. If you're Auburn, you better lock into Padula and Matthew Morrell to start this second half. To your point about the first 2 minutes, man, it will be crucial for both teams.
They go right at Broome to get things started, and that results in a layup. The early move, go attack Janai Broome, 2 points for Dre Davis.
So Chris Beard saw something coming into this game that says we can go at Janai Broome, isolation plays, and he pulls that card to start the second half.
Broome picks up his 3rd assist on the alley-oop.
I don't know if that's the 4 throwing it to the 5 or the 5 throwing it to the 4. It's 6'10 to 6'10, and it's really hard to stop.
Feels like both coaches had a game plan, a play coming out, and they both executed perfectly. Davis, who said a week ago, we got to get our swagger back, now has the first 4 for Ole Miss.
That's just good isolation, win your one-on-one matchup by Davis.
Averaging just under 10 a game, the senior out of Indianapolis. And a Seton Hall transfer. All sorts of contact with bodies going down. Dia and Broome, who may be a little banged up.
Well, to start the half, they short roll, Auburn does, Janai Broome. They short roll him to that free throw line, and he becomes the lob passer. And there's that win your one-on-one battle that you have to do in this league, and it's really well done that time by Dre Davis.
Broome, okay, he was up against the stanchion for a few seconds, but he's all right now. And he's calling for it. He's got about 2 feet on the man currently guarding him underneath.
Watch out.
Watch it. He's right. Lazara kept it in, and there you go. Some good defense that time. Just take a look at Jalen Murray at 5'11", and Janai Broome at about 6'11".
Only 7 on the shot clock for Auburn to work with.
They go to Broome. It's deflected out of his hands, and they get the whistle. Going to be on Davis.
That's got to be so frustrating for Chris Beard. You got Auburn in a bad spot with 7 on the shot clock, and Janai Broome is the recipient, shows a target hand, and you just clobbered the guy and bail him out and give Auburn a fresh 20 to work with. Look at Ole Miss double teaming Broome. And Bruce Pearl saw it, so he makes the switch and puts Broome as the out-of-bounds passer instead. They were double teaming him, Ratty, before the ball was inbounded.
One-on-one with Morrell. Just bullies his way in. Janai Broome.
That's just a bad match for Ole Miss.
Short on the 3. Struggling from the outside, and this one is Murray. Broome and Cardwell are both significantly bigger than anybody Ole Miss has on the floor. Watch it. An easy layup and a nice screen set by Cardwell.
And to your point about Cardwell, absolutely.
It's not a screen, like that's a house.
Well, it's a screen assist. And you just seal off Padula, grabbing whatever, it's not going to get called. You're too big by Cardwell. That's just good action. A good shot fake by Kelly to drive it. That's the respect he has as a shooter. Guys fly at him, and he has learned that shot fake in conference play really well, taking that shot fake to a drop.
Talked about the first couple of minutes, a chance to keep it at 10 as Dia goes out of the game along with Jalen Murray. Bringing David Barnes. And Michael Brown-Jones. Janai Broome is having another one of those games, Jimmy. He's got 18. He's 8 of 8 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Here's that full court press that to me flipped the game in the first half for Ole Miss. Auburn's a little sloppy with it at times.
Cardwell out of the game, Chaney Johnson in the game, and he has the ball now. Penetrates, and another bull into the lane and a bucket.
Yeah, he just knocked the first defender right out of the way and then played right through the contact. Chaney Johnson is... Coaching staff will tell you the hardest worker they have. He has really changed his body. He's the 6th double-figure guy that comes in off the bench for this Auburn team. Just a bull and a brute around that restricted arc finishing.
Trey Davis out of the game. That's his 4th foul. Yeah, the physical nature of Auburn, they're imposing that on Ole Miss tonight. Lead to 13 was once 22. Cardwell and Pearl trying to get the crowd a little more into it. Padula got 2 off the ground. And they get the foul on number 2. You got Bruce Pearl Coach of the Year, huh?
I do if he finishes off this run and they win the SEC regular season title. And there's a lot of good options out there, but you go through this grind for 8 or 9 weeks and win it, give him the trophy.
Just the freebie, ESPN's NBA Friday Double Dip starts with the top 2 teams in the East. Is this the year for the Cavs? They'll show what they can do against the Celtics in Boston, 7:30 Eastern time. Then out west for the next battle of LA. Harden and the Clippers visit LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers. NBA Countdown tips it off. The coverage at 7. Lakers host the Clippers again this Sunday night. Johnson, same thing, uses that body, and he will draw the foul.
So think about the versatility of Janai Broome. He flashes to the top of the key and becomes the facilitator. That was a play call again. Bruce Pearl, 90% of the possessions in a game, it's a play call from BP. And that time, he called Janai Broome to flash to that top and be the play initiator to a very physical Chaney Johnson. Ravi, but because Bruce Pearl calls so many plays in the game,
yes,
he has to be good. Like, he has to go home at night thinking, I called a really good game. That's some pressure to deal with, but he's been doing it for years and years and years. Finding the mismatch, finding the weak defender, and going right at guys.
Auburn's been outstanding from the free throw line tonight. It's been a story. They've made 13 of 14. Padula double teamed and in trouble. Now with 5, a near slip. Morel's going to have to launch a long 3 if he can. He does. Nothing.
Suffocating. Absolute suffocating defense by Auburn. They downed that side ball screen. They downed it to a switch and kept the pressure on, and just nowhere to go for Ole Miss on that possession.
9th turnover. The environment is incredible, and you know, it's not often, you mentioned Pearl calling every play. He's also getting this crowd into it. You don't see coaches do that all the time.
No,
We've seen it from Pearl forever.
Between he and Abby, they are the energy orchestrators. Is building worth easily 8 or 10 points to Auburn.
Nice pass, and the alley-oop again! Wow! Mazzara, Broome, Johnson. Like a double dunk combination instead of a double play combination. And Broom was there to affect that shot.
Well, we've seen a lot from Janai Broom, and in the second half, Bruce Pearl, these are play calls for Janai Broom. Again, he's a short roll passer, not a short roll scorer, and it's worked to perfection.
1 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be these Auburn Tigers with Broom and company. Number 1, they'll be in Lexington to take on Ortega Owe and the number 17 Kentucky Wildcats. The only meeting those two teams have during the regular season. You know Big Blue Nation's going to be ready for that one. Kentucky with a game tonight. And let's just take a look at the 3 remaining schedules, because I know they did the hypothetical SEC tournament if the season ended. Auburn, rough against Kentucky, really rough against A&M, and then Alabama. That is a brutal schedule. Alabama's schedule, at Tennessee, Florida, at Auburn. Those are 6 games between those two teams. You could win them all, you could lose them all.
No doubt. All 3 of those teams could go 3-0. They could go 0-3, and that's the beauty of this league this year. There'll be 2 or 3 teams heading to Nashville in that SEC tournament that have already locked up a 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
And by the way, that game on ABC is also must-watch, not only because of the teams playing, but it's an all-access game. Both coaches wearing microphones. You'll be able to go inside the locker rooms. Mark Pope and Bruce Pearl. They're on the short list of guys you want to have a microphone on during a game.
Yeah, no doubt. Both of them get it. They understand it. And also in league play that same afternoon, you and I and Dick Vitale, Alabama at Tennessee, a 5 versus 6 matchup.
We'll see how Kentucky comes out of tonight when they have both Butler and Jackson available. Arkansas playing Texas tonight without Adu Thera. Big stories in the SEC. Broom, pretty play. He's showing us all that he's got.
Ravi, but where is the weak side load to the ball defense of Ole Miss?
20 in the game for Janai Broom. Good ball fake. Contact, and it hangs on and falls through.
Well, they might get a 3, but they turned down a 3 because Matthew Morrell was wide open, and Murray missed him and kept the ball stuck on the same side of the floor. And Brakefield bails him out. But Brakefield is a shot fake star, and Auburn has taken that shot fake a couple of times in this game already.
As the free throws are going to be attempted, Charles Barkley has pulled a chair up next to us. A lot of handshaking, baby kissing, picture taking. Good to see you.
Hey, man. Number 1, welcome to Auburn.
Yep.
It's like a family reunion every time I come here. It's so great to see Sonny Smith and Gary Godfrey, man.
Yeah, they honored
those
them.
guys.
Yeah, they honored so many of the great Auburn teams from years past, starting back in the 1950s.
Were you doing commentating back then?
I was not there yet.
He was.
Jimmy,
I was not.
Jimmy, okay.
Pettiford with a little kiss. Chuck, but this environment, Chuck, I mean, you played here. This is unique, man.
You cannot compare this environment to when I played here. These people, they've been amazing. You know, Bruce Pearl does an amazing job, and these fans are terrific.
Beck, I've talked about Auburn for the past hour and a half. You've watched this team a lot. Give me your overall evaluation of Auburn on both ends of the floor. Why are they who they are?
Well, number 1, they take the personality of the coach. Bruce is amazing. They have taken his personality.
But they're crazy.
They're terrific defensively.
Yes.
I think obviously Duke is terrific. Florida's terrific. Houston is terrific.
Yep.
But I think Auburn has the best combination inside, outside. in my opinion. We can beat you inside or outside.
Agree.
I was a little frustrated because they almost blew this game in the last five to 7 minutes of the first half.
They had a 22-point lead that went down to 8. What do you do when you get frustrated?
Well, listen, I was talking to Coach Freeze, and we're lucky to have Coach Freeze at Auburn. We started out talking about the quarterback situation, and then next thing I know, we blew a 22-point lead. So it was a lot going on over there.
Well, the guy that BP's up against tonight can flat out coach too.
Hey,
Spear,
let me tell you something. I've been covering college basketball for the last dozen years.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at Texas Tech, I said this guy one of the best X and O coaches we have in college basketball. I'm a big fan of Coach Beard, a big fan.
My room is being held on to. I think we had you sit with us last year, and we were just talking about Broom. Just the development that he has shown, his passing tonight, his shot, he can go to his right a little bit. Like, for a player to make that leap, what goes into that?
Well, number one, work ethic. And also the coach has to challenge you. He's not just a post-up player anymore. Bruce has done a fabulous job of taking him like 12 to 15 feet because the last couple of years, he was basically a post-up guy.
Right.
He's still posted up, but it's further away from the basket, which helps everybody, including himself.
Talk about the overall SEC right now. I mean, most people are projecting 11, 12, 13, maybe 14 teams. Have you ever seen a league this strong?
Not since the Big East back when I was a whippersnapper. That Big East with St. John's, Georgetown, and all those teams back in the day, that's the best conference I've ever seen. But this year, the SEC is unbelievable. Missouri, the coach at Missouri is doing a fabulous job. I'll tell you the team that scares me the most, that damn Florida team.
Yeah.
They scare the hell out of me. I mean, I love Auburn. Hey, Tennessee is really good. No, Georgia won the other night. But the one team in the SEC that really scares me, well, I don't want to relax, but we going to Kentucky Saturday. That's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, but Florida came in here and won.
I know.
Maybe the most impressive win of the year, right?
It's one of the best wins of the year, but I tell you, everybody's on Auburn. And listen, Coach Oat does a fabulous job at Alabama. I saw they beat the hell out of somebody last night.
We were there.
Yeah.
That was Mississippi State.
That's a good description of what they did, too, by the way.
That was just a beatdown. But Coach Oates is unbelievable. But I tell you what, I think what's going to be interesting is the SEC tournament, Jimmy. Do you want to play 3 hard games in 3 days?
Yep, exactly right.
I don't think the worst thing is
losing early.
Yeah, I don't think that's the worst thing. I really don't, because to play 3, like, it ain't like you don't have any cupcake games once you get past those first couple byes.
Chuck, think about this. Last year, Alabama lost their first game on Friday night and went home and went to the Final Four. Tennessee lost their first game and went home and went to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I'm with you, especially this year. I mean, why empty your tank completely in that SEC tournament? I know you go there to win, but there's nothing wrong with getting rest.
Yeah, we won the SEC tournament last year and got bounced right away. But listen, we're going to be a number 1 or a number 2 seed. Like I say, I'm not sure we should go crazy trying to win 3 games for that in the SEC tournament.
Will you stay with us? Because on the backside, I'm going to tell you what Joe Klein said about you as a player.
Oh, my God. Joe Klein, I hate him probably more than any person in the whole world.
Perfect.
Pass and take it the distance and dunk on you. An immovable mass, according to Joe Klein. An immovable mass around the rim. Very skilled, very powerful, and a fierce, fierce competitor is why you are hard to guard.
Well, I appreciate that from Joe. But number 1, you got to admire those shorts. Those are a thing of beauty. Hey, Joe Klein is one of my favorite people in the world. The only thing I hate about Joe Klein, as a fat guy, he's on the barbecue joint in Arkansas for 100 years. I've never had a slice, a rib, not even 1 rib, not a brisket, or Corky's barbecue.
All right, we're going to get that taken care of.
That'll be fixed now. We can fix that.
Yeah, I know people. Yeah, there you are right there. That's an immovable force back in the day.
Yeah, those shorts weren't moving much
Yeah,
either.
they were not. There's a lot of ads in those shorts, Carl.
Joe said during the Olympics, he said Charles Barkley was the best 6'5", 320-pound guy to ever play the game of basketball.
Well, I only weighed 310 pounds. Let's stop it. Stop it, Jimmy. Hey, I had a weight problem. I couldn't wait to eat. Hey, thank God for Moses Malone. Moses Malone. Moses Malone is the most important person in my basketball career. He made me lose 50 pounds. He told me I was fat and lazy, and he was correct. And the rest is history. Best thing ever happened to me.
You like where the college game is going? Denver Jones just made a three with all the three-point shots.
Well, I think we got to have a talk about college basketball. I don't think the model of NIL is sustainable. Listen, I want all these kids to get whatever they can get. But asking colleges to come up with $20, $30 million a year, especially some of the smaller schools, I don't think that's a sustainable model. I love these kids. I want them to do well. But you got to understand, I tell people, most of these kids got to get a free education, which is by far and away the most important thing. Because one of the great travesties of this country is what we're charging these kids to go to college. We need to find a way to make sure the smaller schools can compete.
Dia just pushed off a Barkley right there. Sent Baker Mazzara to the ground.
Well, again, Auburn, one of 4 teams in the country, top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiencies. They compete on both ends of the floor.
That's because of their coach.
No doubt.
Let me tell you something. I always tell people this about Bruce Pearl. We might not win the game, but we're never going to get out-coached. I love that guy.
Jimmy said earlier, Charles, you're never going to get outplayed either because he demands that of his players.
He demands that, but, sometimes
Jones again.
Sometimes things don't work out, but we're never going to get out-coached. I think he's amazing. But Jimmy said something earlier. That guy on the other sideline is fantastic also.
Which is similar to when I was a head coach, they would say they might win the game, but they still got out-coached.
Hey.
The sea change in this conference happened, though, when they committed to coaches in this conference. Just think about the coaches that are in this conference right now.
Keeping Bruce Pearl here is huge.
Keeping Pearl here,
Well,
getting Beard here, Calipari, Oates, Barnes coming over.
Well, let me tell you something about that guy, Coach Oates. I hated when he came to the SEC because I've been watching about 3 or 4 college games a day for the last 2 months. Getting ready for March Madness. I was watching those Buffaloes teams play.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that guy can really coach. And then when the Alabama job opened up, I was like, man, I sure hope Coach Oates don't get that job. And he got the job. And the rest is history. Getting those guys to the Final Four was incredible. Bruce getting us to the Final Four. Calipari at Arkansas, you're right, Carl. Getting all these great coaches in the SEC. The Commissioner Slive, give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, Greg Sankey now, but look, Mark Pope doing some pretty impressive things at Kentucky in his first year.
Well, you know what? He's going to do a hell of a job. I got a chance to speak to that team early in the season. One is the assistant coach Fox, is a great friend of mine.
Yes, yeah, sure.
When they played in Atlanta, I got a chance to speak to that team. Coach Pope going to do a fabulous job. And you know what? We need Kentucky to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
Kentucky is one of the 5 best programs in college basketball history. We need them to be relevant.
St. John's, same thing. We need St. John's to be relevant again, and they are.
Rick Pitino, I love Rick Pitino. I knew once he went to St. John's it was going to be a home run. He is one of my favorite coaches, and it's great to have St. John's back. Rest in peace to Coach Carnesecca. Shout out to Chris Mullen and those guys. But Rick is one of the best coaches ever. And listen, we need St. John's. We need Georgetown to be relevant.
Hey, Charles, I want to ask you something. Bruce Pearl has always said, we might lose the game, but no team will play harder than us. What's the value of a team that just plays so hard in your estimation?
Well, actually, I think you see it with Kevin Sampson.
Same way,
I think that toughness and hard work is the most underrated skill. Listen, you can't control making shots and things like that. You can't control if another team does better. But if you go out and work hard, you're going to win a lot of games. Coach Pearl, he demands that. Kevin Sampson demands that. That's why I love our guys.
All right, let me switch gears for a second. Leeds, Alabama, right?
Yes.
So I try to send one of our bosses to Buc-ee's in Leeds, Alabama, and he didn't go.
Let me tell you something. We built that Buc-ee's in Leeds about 2 years ago. I've been there 20 times. I've never been in.
I guess?
I've never been in. It's 100 people there every time I go there. I've never been. I'm telling Carl, I'm telling you the truth. It's
Gas or what?
Oh, there's 1,000 gas pumps on the outside.
It's actually 100.
I know, it's 100.
But
It looks like 1,000 when you see it, Jimmy.
and everybody said the same thing. You got to get the brisket from Buc-ee's. I have never been inside because it's always been packed. Because let me tell you something. Normally when I go places, whether it's a gas station, supermarket, dry cleaner, people think I want to talk to them. So it's not a lot of fun for me. So I've actually never been, I'm serious, I've actually pulled into that Buc-ee's 15 to 20 times. It's so packed every time. I've never been in.
Yeah, because they would swarm. They would swarm to you.
Yeah, for some reason, people think when I go into places, I want to talk to them.
So if we can only get you brisket from either Buc-ee's or Corky's, which one do you want?
Buc-ee's. Okay. just to screw with Joe Clyde. Hey, and let me tell you something. You know, Joe's wife, Dana, she's like a 10. Joe's like a 3.5.
On a good day.
On a good day. That doesn't work, does it?
Oh, no.
That must be some good barbecue. That must be some real good barbecue.
So people like to talk to you, huh?
They do. They think I go to the cleaner. Why are you at the dry cleaner? Fool, I'm here to get dry cleaning. Well, I'm at the supermarket. Why are you here? It drives me crazy. I'm here doing the same thing you do.
Run for president. Well, when are you going to run for president? I'm going to vote for you.
Well,
Common Sense Party.
Well, it's a little late for that. That ship has sailed.
Hey, how important is it for you to see that statue outside of Charles? How important is that?
It was one of the greatest things that ever happened in my life. It's one of the great things that Auburn ever did for me. I just told him, just make it skinny. We're good. Make it skinny.
Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure, as always. You're the best.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks,
You are the best.
We appreciate it.
You're the best.
One damn eagle, y'all.
Yeah.
You were the last person to see the president alive.
Welcome to the White Lotus in Thailand.
Seth, Sean Dallin in studio. Maryland was down 7 with 3 minutes to play against Michigan State, but they have a chance to win it at the buzzer. Jacoby Gillespie, maybe the buzzer. Quick shot. Trey Holloman from 60.
Does Jackson Cole get an assist on that?
He doesn't, but he should. Hey, by the way, 0 for 3 from 3. Make it 1 for 4. That one mattered.
That was wild. Ravi, Jimmy. I don't know if he sold it, but it was insane.
(79-61) under 8. Still recovering from the Barkley cyclone that just rolled through here.
It was.
They all think I want to talk to him, and that's not my role at a supermarket or anywhere else. But he's very well aware of, and you can just feel the pride he has, right, for this program, Jimmy?
You know what has impressed me the most tonight, honestly, is the amount of time that Charles Barkley is taking with anyone that comes up to him over there, wanting their picture made, just to say hi. I mean, he comes here to watch a basketball game and so gracious with anyone that comes to him.
And Mazzara knocks it down. They've had it up to about 20 most of this second half. The free throw shooting has been a big story tonight. Auburn is 17 of 19 from the stripe. That's extraordinary.
Ole Miss is 20 out of 23.
Extraordinary. Step inside, they're going to get Baker Mazzara.
Ole Miss has ran some good stuff in this game. They've gotten that ball inside to different people with different actions. And Chris Beard is sitting there right now, 8-6 in the league. Most likely going to go to 8-7. They're a very good example, Ravi, of a team that could finish a game below 500 in the SEC and still be a 6-7 seed somewhere in there in that NCAA bracket.
Chris Beard has tapped number 10, John Bowl, who is 7 feet 2 inches tall, not related to Manute Bowl. But for the first time tonight, Bowl gives Broom and Cheney and Cardwell someone to look up to. That was no good. The roar was for the Fries, Jimmy, that and Cheney and Cardwell someone to look up to. That was no good. The roar was for the Fries, Jimmy, that Cheney and inches tall, not related to Manute Bowl.
Tennessee, they've won those and still be a 6-7 seed somewhere in there.
And Cheney and Cardwell someone to look up to. That was no good. The roar was for the Fries, Jimmy, that everybody gets. Is it gooey fries?
Gooey fries,
yeah.
Yes.
There's Bowl. Throw it down. And instead, in off the window. He is the second highest recruit in Ole Miss history.
Well, they list him 7'2".
Yeah.
And he's all of it. And the versatility of Chad Baker Mazzara to bring that thing up against pressure, start the play.
You think about what this league could be next year with Bowl and Olivier Rioux at Florida, who is 7 feet 9 inches tall. That game of one-on-one-B.
Robbie really impressed with Auburn. I've watched them 10 or 12 times on tape. Our first time to see him in person, but how fast they play on both ends of the floor, how hard they cut offensively, how fast they cut, how fast the ball moves. I mean, they're averaging 80, and they're doing it off of play calls, but once that call is made, man, they are going at it with speed and quickness at all 5 spots.
And not a surprise about the top teams in this league, Florida, Alabama, Bowl falls down, and Padula throws up an air ball. They come at you in waves. There's so much quality depth to the top teams in this conference. And when guys get hurt, the teams that don't have it really suffer.
And Auburn with 6 guys in double figures in conference play. And you get 2 of them coming in off the bench, getting 10 to 12 points apiece.
Well, here you go, a little challenge for a Broom against Bowl. And he drew the foul.
Yeah, strength versus length that time. And strength is going to win that battle 80% of the time, it feels like, in college basketball. They just have a knack to get the shoulder into a 7'2" guy like that, knock him off the path a little bit. But strength just beat length.
Talk about 6th man of the year in the conference, and there's a handful, it feels like, that are on this team. But Cheney Johnson and Thomas Houck of Florida, 2 of the guys that would be seriously considered. Remember, Florida's playing with Handlockton, who came back, and they have not had Condon for a while. And they're going to get one of their most efficient and effective players back in a 6'11" Condon.
Yeah, it's not a shock to me at all that Georgia won that game last night. I mean, Georgia in non-conference beat St. John's, who's going to win the Big East. And Georgia's sitting there in 14th place, I think, right now in this league.
Cole kept it alive, but did he come over the back? He did.
This is not going to be one of them, but Auburn has been outstanding in close games. 6-0 on the year in games 5 points or less, and in league play, they have a 5-point win at Texas. They got a 3-point win at South Carolina, and two 2-point wins against Georgia and Tennessee. They've won those close games, which you expect an older team that's well coached to win way more than they lose.
Right, but as you sit there on Selection Sunday and talk about the teams that could win it, that fact right there is the difference maker for so many teams in whatever sport. Baseball, the one-run games. Basketball, 5 or less points. That's a test that you're going to get in the tournament.
No doubt. And that's some concern I would have with Duke, just not being tested like teams out of this league this year. Duke is super talented, super long. Got future pros, very well coached. They beat the Illini out of Illinois last weekend.
Badly. Or what did Charles say about last night's game?
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Times 2.
Broom got a piece of that.
Auburn winning those close games, though, also is the difference of them being a 1 seed or a 2 or a 3 seed.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, yeah. All right, he just threw his wristband off because it was bothering him, and he just worked his way in. You don't see that combo very often. This is bothering me, and now I'm going to make a layup.
23-9-4 for Janai Broom.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's just a typical night for what I think is the National Player of the Year.
Beard calls timeout after the ball rolls through. All right, well, I don't think we had this in the bingo card, did we?
No, but when you can do it all, you can do it all.
Now he's looking to get it back from a fan. He's like,
Something's
please.
bothering you, so just take it off before I drive and bring the hammer.
And he just got it thrown back on the floor. Everybody, 86-65, and it is story time with Jimmy Dykes.
Well, if you're looking for this year's national champion, there's somewhere on that list. You go back to the Week 6 AP Top 12, and the last 20 national champions, Ravi, were inside the top 12 during the Week 6 poll after the feast week and the challenges and all that. And Auburn is sitting right there. You go down that list: Tennessee, Auburn, Iowa State, Duke, Kentucky, yeah, they could get there. Marquette could get there. Bama certainly. Gonzaga, I don't think so. Florida, yes. Kansas, no. Purdue, no. Oregon, no. You can probably chop that list down to about 7 or 8 right now. But that's so interesting that 20 years in a row,
right,
the national champion was inside that top 12 Week 6.
And maybe throw Houston on the list.
Yeah. Well, they would break the streak if it happens.
They would.
Yeah.
Arizona on the list?
They're not on the list, right? They were not on the list in Week 6. What Bruce Pearl tell us today, knowing that this is the first time you and I have seen him live? He said, "You're not going to be blown away by us."
Yeah, I thought that.
Well,
was
we kind of are.
That was an undersell.
We kind of are. He doesn't have that dominant star stud. Janai Broom certainly. Hard to say that when he's going to be the national player of the year,
right,
but he doesn't just wow you; he just beats you.
Like Jabari Smith's not on the team.
Yeah, but a whole bunch of other just good pieces, man.
Yeah.
No bad players he puts on the floor, not one.
Well, if you were to come up with your ingredients for a national championship team, what would be on that list, and does Auburn have every one of those?
You have to be a complete team, and you have to be inside, watch out, inside the top 20 offensively and inside the top 30 defensively before the tournament begins. And they certainly have met those numbers and those metrics. You have to be old. You have to have depth at the guard spot. You have to have the ability to choke people's waters off defensively, which they can do. And to me, you have to have a guy like Janai Broome, Ravi, who, when things go haywire, you just play call for him 2 or 3 trips in a row and set the thing right again. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. I think maybe you'd look at their point guards, which you brought up, where they don't have a ton of experience, and yet they do have some maturity with one of them. And Pettiford may be as skilled a player as they have just as a freshman.
And the way BP runs his offense, you just need to get the offense started. Then they start all the cutting and the flex cut out of the corner, which we haven't seen a lot of tonight, but they are going to be as hard to beat in the tournament as anyone once it begins.
Yeah, there's a great smile on Pettiford's face as we've kind of just dissolved into a foul fest here in the last few minutes. Gallinardi's been busy, and tonight, when you look at the top, the seats not going to change much. There's certainly opportunity to change the 1 and 2 lines, though, the next couple of weeks with certainly the games in the SEC. Duke, according to the net rankings, appears to be right on the heels, if not passing. Whoa, look at Chaney Johnson fly in, and Mazzaro gets another chance. Credit Chaney Johnson with those 3.
When you run down those misses, it's amazing how those reload threes go in. And Auburn is so disciplined to keep shooters in the corner, even when the game gets scrambled.
Auburn's got this massive lead, Jimmy, and I don't see any drop in intensity on either end of the floor. And somebody's feeling it right now. And we're going all Baker Mazzara right now.
He is an absolute difference maker. I mean, you have to have one heck of a defender to take Chad Baker Mazzara out of the game.
He's got 22. Broome's got 24. And Brakefield works his way in.
Ravi, they went and lost at Duke. Auburn did, but that was a schedule setup problem with what they did at Maui. 3 hard games in a row. They fly home. They go to Duke. They lose, and the other loss is to Florida. But this is the kid I'm talking about. The versatility of a guy that can create his own and turn around with that type of swagger. That is Auburn basketball.
I gotta get Marcus some new cleats.
I bet you could buy the whole team new cleats with all that money you saved.
Nancy Dawson is passive progressive.
You know, Nancy, that's actually really...
Nancy Dawson.
Network Vanderbilt, one of Joe Lunardi's last 4 buys in the field right now, getting a big-time win, potentially on the road at A&M, up 8 with 2.5 to go over on ESPN. The struggling Sixers taking on the Knicks in the 3rd quarter. Coming up, just when we're done here, though, we got a massive game on the bubble. Both teams are the last 4 in per Joe Lunardi. Texas at Arkansas and DJ Wagner's Hogs.
DJ Wagner's got to be big, but collective responsibility for this Arkansas team without Adu Thiero playing in this game.
No Thiero. We'll see what they can do just under 3 minutes. That game's going to start on ESPN News. We will be on ESPN 2 as soon as we wrap things up down in the Plains. Ravi, Jimmy?
They shot 60% in this game from the field. 60.
Auburn has. Well, look at Arkansas's tournament resume. They are right there on the cut line, both them and Texas. And without Adu Thiero, who defensively would have been a great matchup on Trey Johnson from Texas, that outstanding freshman leading the SEC in scoring for most of the year. That almost feels like an elimination game coming up after ours.
Yeah, it might very well be that. It's a great call.
Thank you.
Where they make up with a Thiero out. That's a toughness factor they're going to miss. And of course, Trey Johnson's as good as there is in college basketball one-on-one. I think Barkley's point, too, about the culture that's been created here under Bruce Pearl is real. There are certain programs where they have the team really mirror the personality of the coach. Yeah. Auburn is that.
They are uber competitive. And, you know, I was impressed with them watching film today. They ask good questions. Bruce Pearl has those scouting reports down to a T, man. He doesn't give these guys too much information. I've sat in films before where you walk out saying way too much information was given, not Bruce Pearl.
Yeah. But with a win tonight, Pearl is going to improve to 14-1 after 15 games in conference. They have never started the SEC season 14-1, so that'll be a first for the Auburn Tigers.
I just think you got to give Auburn their due this year. With a number of Quad 1 wins that they have and are going to have. And to win the regular season in the SEC after tonight, they'll have a 2-game lead with 3 to go. The schedule strength that they've played, being the overall #1 seed, I don't know what more a coach can do to not be the national coach of the year.
For those tuning in to see Texas-Arkansas, the game we talked about, currently airing on ESPN News. We'll throw you right out to Bud Walton Arena as soon as this one is over. And we're at the 2-minute and 15-second mark of this one. What does Ole Miss do? Because it's quite clear, Jimmy, that they didn't have the size to match up with Auburn.
And this is the wrong team to play against when you're an undersized, because Auburn will just crush you in the lane. Auburn looked up like 44 points in the paint tonight.
Wow. Why not knock down a 3 off the bench? Welcome into the game, Ja'Kai Howard. They've got triple digits, and I think they're looking for a little more. Howard again. Right on. Whoa. That's a season-high 103 points.
Well, you don't get to wear an Auburn uniform unless you can shoot the basketball. And Howard checks in. There's no defensive pressure on him whatsoever. Ole Miss kind of waved the towel, but it'll limit the last couple of minutes. But man, this jungle. People ask me all the time, the most difficult place to play in college basketball right now. We're sitting in it.
One more whistle as there was some bodies banging, but there's all sorts of fun being had right now on that Auburn bench. Final women's SEC Network triple header of the regular season is Sunday. Starts in Knoxville. The Lady Vols hosting Georgia at noon, Florida and #1 Texas, and capped off with Ole Miss back home in Baton Rouge to take on #7 LSU. Women's tournament starts next Wednesday. That's March 5 in Greenville, South Carolina. Amazing. This regular season is winding down, isn't it?
You know, Vic Schaefer at Texas, he's got the squad to win his second national championship. Be a part of one. And Madison Booker, the size they have on the inside. What I love about the women's game this year, there's legitimately, Ravi, 8, 9, 10 teams that could win that women's championship this year.
Yeah, the way South Carolina started, you were wondering about that.
Yeah.
They're, as you said, #6 now in the country. Other teams have shown they can compete, or if not beat them. That should be a phenomenal women's tournament. Coming on the heels of what Caitlin Clark did, women's basketball, Jimmy, has stayed at that level that it was at last year, I should say. Certainly in popularity and absolutely in the level of play.
Well, you got stars. Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame. Juju out at South Carolina, Lauren Betts at UCLA, Madison Booker Kid at Texas,
Connecticut,
Beckers and AZ Fudd just on down the line, and they are deserving that women's basketball with everything they're getting, and a good watch.
Well, you know, this is a bit of a hit for Chris Beard because of his tenacity and his emphasis on defense. To give up 105, maybe plus, to the #1 team in the country is a reaffirming and confirming sign that they are appropriately ranked. And they continue, no matter who's in. Muscala keeps that ball inbounds to give effort, maximum effort.
The pieces just fit perfectly for this Auburn team this year. They know their roles. They don't get outside of their roles. Very unselfish team. They're for one another. And they have just enough of an edge about them in terms of they go at each other nose to nose.
Yeah.
But Bruce Pearl will get into it with his players in the right way, and they respond the right way. But just the edge and the swagger that this team has it's uncommon. And really the only team I see in college ball right now that plays living on the edge every night.
They shot 60% from the floor for the game. They're not going to beat many teams when they're doing that.
Well, number one team came out and took care of business like you're supposed to.
In a big, big way. A lot of respect between those two and a lot of work to do for Ole Miss. Auburn, a dominant performance tonight. A 106-76 thrashing of Ole Miss. And that will do it for us. A special thanks to Charles Barkley, who joined us, and our entire crew behind the scenes. A record this year for most points scored. With Jimmy Dykes, I'm Carl Ravitch. Tom Hart in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Razorbacks and Longhorns right now.